Rolls-Royce did not begin with a bankrupt Coachbuilder. No surviving evidence shows Henry Royce was bankrupt or a coachbuilder. The real mystery is how an insecure engineer built only 3 cars, then met Charles Rolls through poverty, disappointment, and one test drive. After his parents separated in 1867, his father died in 1872. Royce worked first as a newspaper boy, then as a telegraph messenger. In 1880, an aunt's financial support helped him train at the Great Northern Railway Locomotive Works. When that support disappeared, the training ended, leaving him unemployed again by 1884. The record shows financial insecurity, not a proven corporate bankruptcy. That distinction matters. Before Royce built cars, he learned to treat survival itself as an engineering problem. That engineering problem changed in 1884. When Royce and Ernest Alexander Claremont founded an electrical business. They began with doorbells and lamp fittings, then expanded into dynamos, electric motors, and bridge cranes. The work trained Royce to demand reliable operation, precise manufacture, and performance repeated from one machine to the next. By 1899, the venture represented roughly £30,000 in capital. Royce had built an established industrial business. Then serious illness confined him, and one purchase redirected his attention, a Decauville automobile. He would now apply the standards learned building machines for other industries to the automobile. In 1903, Royce bought a Decauville motor car while recovering from a severe illness. Its noise, vibration, unreliability, and poor finish offended his standards. Royce did not enter motoring for fashion or status. He entered because his Decauville failed his standards. He designed a replacement around quiet operation, smooth running, and reliable construction. On the 1st of April 1904, Royce took his first car for a test drive. That vehicle began the Royce story. The result was a tiny experiment. If the car was so important, why did only 3 examples exist? And how could such a small project attract Charles Rolls? The answer is surprisingly small. Royce built only 3 of these early cars. None survives today. The first chapter of Rolls-Royce history must therefore be reconstructed from photographs, engineering drawings, and recreations clearly labeled as modern, never presented as surviving machines. Yet the test drive mattered because it proved the design could leave the workshop and behave like a dependable automobile. 3 cars were a tiny production run, but the road test demonstrated Royce's central engineering philosophy. Precision, quietness, and reliable construction had to work together outside the workshop. That proof was no longer on paper. It was moving under its own power. Then the machines disappeared. Their metal was gone, but their meaning remained. Charles Rolls recognized that Royce's engineering had created something his own name could sell, not merely a motor car, but a standard customers would trust. On the 5th of May, 1904, Charles Rolls turned Royce's private achievement into a commercial identity. Their agreement was simple. Rolls would take every vehicle Royce produced and market it under the name Rolls-Royce. That name existed before Rolls-Royce Limited, before the famous factory, and before the marque had built a single car. It began as a promise between 2 men. Royce supplied the machine and the uncompromising standards behind it. Rolls supplied the route to wealthy customers, the sales network, and a public-facing name people could remember. The arrangement gave Royce's engineering a market and gave Rolls a product worthy of his reputation. Within 2 years, Rolls-Royce would become the company itself, but the partnership behind the name was already heading toward its first fracture. On the 15th of March, 1906, the name Rolls-Royce was transferred to Rolls-Royce Limited, turning a private agreement into a formal corporate identity. The partnership itself would be brief. Charles Rolls died in an airplane crash in 1910. Henry Royce survived him, but died in 1933. Neither founder controlled the full legend that followed. That corrects the story's most tempting shortcut. Rolls-Royce did not begin as a bankrupt coach builder's comeback. It began when an industrial engineer responded to a bad car by building a better one, and a marketer recognized that machine's commercial potential. Exclusivity arrived gradually through scarcity, technical standards, and a name that outlived its creators. The first test drive planted the seed. The myth came later. Thank you for watching. Write a comment. Was Rolls-Royce built by engineering, marketing, or both? Continue with us to discover how that name became a global symbol of exclusivity.